I mean, I checked it a few.
I can't complain.
September 10th, 2019 meeting of the North Andover Planning Board. Thank you everyone for making it out. 0 Middleton Road, Paul Horn, applicant requests endorsement of approval not required plan. What do we have on this one, Monica?
Okay, this is an A&R that's been submitted to create 2 lots. This plan's been reviewed by Planning, Conservation, and Building Department. The applicants worked with us to make some revisions to the plan to clarify contiguous buildable area and frontage. As you'll notice, this plan is on the border of both Andover and North Andover, so it had to go for endorsement for Andover, so you'll see their signature. And then now they are coming before us, or for the planning board for your endorsement. This property is fronting on Middleton Road. And so they would need access here. The total frontage on this is 181.65 feet, and it has a CBA of 83.6%. And that's due to a wetland that's across the street. So that would be the buffer zone here.
Is there any frontage in North Andover? Because you said there was frontage on Middleton Road, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like the frontage is on Salem Street, Andover.
/ Middleton Road. So their frontage, their access would be from Salem Street. So that may be something that once they go before zoning, they'd have to address. But again, you're endorsing.
In Andover.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
See, I thought he was something interesting.
Right, yeah, no, it is interesting. I mean, yeah, because the only access is in Andover. Is the size of the lot in conformity with our bylaws?
Yes.
So what are we in, R1 or R2?
Let me enlarge that so you can see here. This is the R2 zone. So I'll drag that over so you can see. So they
It's in
definitely
R2,
meet.
yeah. I presume if they're gonna build a house, they're gonna put it on the Andover side.
That well,
I think it's gonna probably cross over into, I'm not sure. We don't have any building plans, and I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna end up just, once assuming I split the lots and get all the approvals, I may end up just selling the 2 lots individually, and not be involved in the actual construction. But the lots are planned for 2 4-bedroom homes.
Is there a house there on one of them? Is that a house?
It's currently a house, but it would have to be torn down when, as part of the construction.
Your existing deck is going in between,
Yeah,
both lots.
both lots, yeah. That would have to be removed.
right.
Okay.
And I can show this satellite imagery if you need that as well.
So it has the frontage, it has access.
It has access, it has the minimum frontage, it has vital access, so it meets the 3 requirements for an A&R, so,
CBA is designated.
Right.
Everything's conforming.
exactly, so,
Okay.
So on the second one, I'll go back to it, is the reasonable street access there? Is it simple, there's not like a enormous gully or anything there, or
No,
anything
there's-
that would preclude you from practically?
the wetland is located across the street, so it's not impeding access to, either of the actual lots, but you do have the 100-foot buffer, which is what this, with this line is here. And so this was the area that had to be removed from the contiguous buildable area, so that had to be excluded, because that wouldn't be, so they have to figure out how to access it. So they may have, when they go before zoning in Andover, they may have an issue if they want to build within the 50, but, that's down lower.
Right, well, they'll still have to get access. So what
Yeah.
does that say there? About a buffer zone.
It's 100 foot.
Yeah, this is the 100-foot buffer.
Okay. The only thing that I would say is there needs to be some sort of statement on the plan that, what you're doing is by creating these lots, you're creating a zoning violation. So either the lot lines can't stand, or, you can't go in and get a variance on the existing house. The existing house has to be torn down. And so there needs to be some mention on that,
I mean, that's
Right.
expected, so I don't think that would be an issue,
Yeah.
if that's needed.
Not, doesn't say that it conforms.
Yeah, keep in mind that, again, when you endorse a plan, you're not endorsing zoning. So they've actually done the standard, the planning board's endorsement of the plan as not requiring approval under the subdivision control law, is not a determination to conformance with the town of North Andover zoning bylaw and regulations.
Okay, so that's fine, and
Yes.
I would just attach a letter with the file that indicates that if this sticks, it's not in conformity with zoning, but that statement is fine.
All right, so could we get a motion to instruct the planner or assistant planner to endorse the plan of land as not requiring subdivision, not requiring approval under subdivision control?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
No. Yeah. All right, approved.
Thank you.
All right, 485 Wood Lane, 58 Stevens LLC, 58 Stevens LLC. Applicant requests endorsement of the approval not required plan. Hello.
Good evening.
My plan is slowly coming up. Very slowly. Okay. Let me see, this A&R plan has been submitted to create, with the request, the desire to create 2 lots. There's currently a house located here on Wood Lane. The second lot would be behind the lot here, would access from Great Oak Street. I'll bring up the satellite imagery so you
Go
can,
back to that 1 second.
yes.
Does it say partially developed way as shown on the plans?
Yes, so currently on Great Oak Lane, there is a gravel driveway. It's approximately, I would say, 10 feet wide. That's on the right-hand side here. And it allows, there are 2 houses, one here and one on the lot here, that have access from this gravel driveway. The gravel driveway, when I checked in with DPW, they actually plow this up to the gravel drive, and they said that if there are pits in the road, they fill it in with more gravel.
How long is, can you just go back up, sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
How long is that gravel driveway?
Approximately 125 feet.
Okay.
So,
Where is it?
where is this, by the way? Where is this part of Oak Lane? Where are we
This is-
exactly?
Near Stevens Coolidge?
No.
No?
This is
No,
the
it's
other
on the
side
other
of
side.
what,
The
what
other-
used to be contiguous, but it's not, it's on the other,
Like
it's farther
near-
down.
Green Street.
Exactly, Green
Yeah,
Street.
Yeah,
If I
okay,
bring
So
up,
that's where I thought, I just wasn't sure exactly where it was.
yeah, I'll bring up
Uh,
the satellite too, just so you can see where
I
that
think this one's
is.
pretty simple. This is subdivision. There's not sufficient with grade and, where they're getting the frontage is something that's not been built. They gotta create it to sufficient with grade
So
and
that's
construction.
gonna be our question for you guys, is where is the frontage? Cause it doesn't look like it's on.
There's another plan that shows where the proposed, do you have that? Where we're proposing
Which
the-
plan, yes, there's,
One moment, please. Things have gotten very slow. Okay, that's your application. So this was so that plan was the one that was provided to me. I do have the locus map, if that would be helpful, but that plan was the only one that I received.
Yeah, this is a subdivision. I mean, look, there's no frontage in the right of way. There's no road there.
Well,
There's
there's, yeah, I was lazy, I looked on Google Maps, but, there's a sign out there that says Great Oak Street, that's on Wood
But
Lane.
even still, Great Oak, even if we were to consider this a road, which I don't really think it is, you still need this. I mean, this is the new lot, right?
Yes.
Right, so we need, what, 100 feet or 150 feet? What do we have?
150.
150.
Right, on this
Public
lot.
way was sufficient with grade and construction, and there's no with grade or construction at all. There's a tree there on the, yeah.
Yeah, Great Oak Street, I don't even know if that would count. That's like,
Even that, yeah, you gotta look at the whole history of that, because if it's
Well-
2 driveways, who owns the right of way?
Go ahead.
if I may speak,
Yeah, please.
it is signed, it is maintained, it is plowed, there is trash pickup. And that visual, it is,
What's the width?
It's over 20 feet.
it's over
Well,
20 feet.
but the planning board, it doesn't matter because there's nothing in front of the lot itself.
So we have a video of the actual street. You can see us walking down it. You can see where the proposed driveway we're suggesting.
It doesn't matter. You don't have frontage on a public way with sufficient with grade and construction.
Could I ask another question? If we used
Yeah.
Wood Lane
Well,
as our frontage and came up the right side of the house as a
Oh,
right of
I
way?
don't know, I mean, but you don't have with grade and construction on a public way.
Alright, so let's go back, let's do one at a time. So, alright, these are,
Those are the photos, like.
That's where you drive it.
Right.
That's where the street ends, right at the beginning of where our driveway would be.
Right. But you need to have 150 feet of frontage on the
Thought it
road.
was 100.
100 feet of frontage on
And,
the
and,
road.
and, and
Okay.
this part, also the layup to it, that's not in accordance with town standards. The town may plow it, but that's not sufficient with grade and construction.
Right, the standards are a paved way, and for residential, the right-of-way is 50 feet, with 26 paved. And as of right now, it's roughly about 10 of gravel.
Can you go back to the original plan, Monica?
Sure. Oops, give me one moment.
Bless you.
Yeah.
So, Wood Lane. I mean,
How big's the lot?
12,500.
Okay, this is 12.5, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a buildable lot if you have a plan to,
go back to the top.
extend the roadway.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like you either need to extend the roadway, or you need to somehow have,
That's what I was asking.
If you-
Could we give a right away from Wood Lane and come, it's left side now, and come to the back lot,
I mean, you're still gonna
Where
need
would your
100,
rear
you're gonna need
frontage?
100 feet on Wood Lane.
which we have 100 feet on Wood Lane.
For the rear lot?
Not for the rear lot. No,
No,
I
for the
think
rear
what
lot.
you're gonna have to do
You'd have
is.
to cut a sliver, right?
Oh,
100-foot
I
sliver.
understand, I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean,
Or you have to subdivide.
frankly, it wouldn't take you all that much more work to do it the way I think you need to do it. It's a simple subdivision, so it's not sort of, a heavy lift, but what you need to do is, ideally what the town would want is that you run the road all the way through, so it's a through street.
You can't, the elevation changes.
When you get to the edge of, and, excuse me, where the plus sign is, there's about a 6 to 8 foot elevation change.
Okay, but what you need to do then is, you don't need to necessarily go that far, but you need to go into the lot to the
Yeah.
point so that you can
That's
get
okay.
access to the lot from the public, from a right-of-way.
Right, so what
Right.
you're saying is where the extend the gravel drive.
Well, it's not gonna be a gravel drive.
Well, pave
But I'm
it,
just
Yeah,
saying,
but,
just-
but
just
yeah,
so I
all you
can-
do is extend it
Extend it up
and
to,
into the property, doesn't have to be all the way to the end, but it has to be pretty deep into the property so that you can get access to the lot.
And what you would need to do is if it
20.
becomes a subdivision road, it could be either a private drive, or maybe if you could get it to town standards. If it remains private, then what you would need to do is have a homeowners association, like, talk to the existing lot
We would
across the
pave it.
street.
We would pave it.
Right.
The city creates no burden, they already maintenance the road.
So, has this been accepted as a public way? It
A
looks like
portion
it
of it.
was a paper street and then somebody decided to put in a gravel way and somehow it got signed, but
Yeah, somehow Great Oak, portions of it are public. That gravel portion, I'm sure there's a story behind it, but that seems to be the part that's maintained by the town, even though it's not your standard, the town standard for road. But the other portion is basically, non-developed by any means.
so it's never been
So it's-
accepted.
So there's
as
a house on
public-
that
No,
street.
It's not built to standards, but
There's
it actually, I think, would be fairly simple to do.
And
I
then
mean,
I have a question, because I don't know, so that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking. So it's either 15 or 16 Great Oak, which is the property to the right, which was built in 1970. That that's their only way to their house.
Right,
So-
but,
That might have been before subdivision.
yeah, that would have been.
Subdivision
that might
was
have been
64,
before
right?
A lot of things, if
Somewhere
it's the
around
first
So
lot,
it's 5 years after.
they,
I don't know, yeah.
the first lot may have frontage on wood, but they chose not to do it that way. It's
No,
entirely
it's the
possible.
second lot
It's
of-
the second one, it's
Correct.
probably, but, yeah, I mean, frankly, it was probably done back when the standards were much laxer than they are today, so I don't know, how they could have done that, but they probably shouldn't have, but they did.
But that's the thing, it was after the subdivision law.
Well, but it doesn't matter, that's
Right.
then,
Well,
and now, yeah.
So, this plan doesn't meet the criteria of an A and R, so I mean, you either have to come back with a plan that either has frontage on Wood Lane or a subdivision. Those are really the kind of options.
Question,
Yeah.
in terms of the, Mr. Simons was saying that it's pretty simple, it seems like a simple option to pave it and extend it a little further up. Without going through a subdivision application, can we present that to the board? And, because it is,
Well, what you
it's a
could do is, I mean, that's an interesting point, because it's an existing way. You would have to do it, you would actually have to create a way. I mean, I do know, we had a few similar ones to this, like over in Inner Street. Inner Street. It's kind of very similar sort of, houses were built over a period of time and they got extended, and the road that existed at one time wasn't that good, but we did do a few similar things. I mean,
I think, I don't remember, I did send you an example of one of the single lot subdivisions.
it was, yeah, that's the Maplewood Street.
Yes.
Maplewood, yeah, but they had, theirs was a true illusory, this has been in existence since 1923, and then, by at least since there was a house built in 1970, and the town came in and took that, and took on the maintenance there, so it's a little different
I think
than.
that because, see, typically when you do a subdivision, you're creating the road and the lots at
Right.
the same time, so the roadway is on land that you own, and you're creating a road that didn't exist. It's a little bit different because it's an existing sort of paper street, if you will.
That's why
If
we were
you,
wondering if we could.
again, so I think given that it's an existing roadway, hypothetically, we might ask town council this, but I'm pretty sure you could do this, or maybe you know the answer to this. I think what you could do is work with the DPW to take that whole stretch and construct it to the sufficient weight, width, grade, and construction of a public way, and then come in and Form A it.
Fine.
But I mean, effectively, at 6 of one, half does the other, you're doing fundamentally the same thing, but it might save you a little bit of extra effort, but given that you'd have to research the ownership interest in that, because you don't actually have ownership in the part of it that, before your lot begins, at least on the right-hand side, and I think you'll actually have the same problem on the second lot. So you'll probably need to talk to the people that live there.
We have letters from them already.
And if they're all okay with it,
Me
I think
too.
you could go to
I'm gonna pass
DPW
it.
and come up with a plan that,
Monica.
build something to our standards.
On that, what's the utility situation, electric, water, sewer? Does that come up that?
Comes up,
Greedo.
comes up Greedo.
So, but you're right, that's the kind of thing that we would want to see, and that the DPW would want to see that.
Even if we're not building on it, we just wanna subdivide it, and we're gonna sell the land, we would have to do all that? Wouldn't that
You
be
would
on the
have to
person?
demonstrate that you could do that, yeah.
Wouldn't it be the person who's actually permitting the
Well,
prop?
you would have to build something with sufficient, with great construction, you would have to provide the easements for the utilities and everything
Okay.
like that, so you would have to do virtually all the work.
Me as the
Yeah,
subdivider,
because you
okay.
couldn't, because you couldn't Form A the lot unless you had a real road there, so.
But instead of formatting it, if you wanted to just do the subdivision plan.
Yeah, I mean, you could, to some degree, I think you could do it either way. I think it's cleaner to do a subdivision plan, but, again, I understand why you might not wanna do it, but, we wouldn't require all the normal sort of expenses we have for a one-lot subdivision, and, so we would be more flexible in terms of the cost. You know, if you're doing a 20-lot subdivision, you'd have engineers and all that sort of stuff, whatnot. We're obviously not gonna do that, but, you know, I think regardless of which path you go down, I think you gotta meet with the DPW to find out exactly how they would want you to construct this.
He was fine with it too, what did he say to us? The DPW, Jim?
Well, he was fine with, because of the fact that the snow plowing and just maintaining it, lifting it up every few years for the two houses that were there.
Yeah,
So
you're
he-
lucky they do that, or, you know, probably somebody knows somebody.
Somebody knows somebody since at least 1970.
Can I ask
Yeah.
another question, because I just don't know
Yeah,
the rule?
sure.
There's a street sign there, doesn't a street sign have to be, or they can just put one? I'm just curious on how that one.
Again, I think there's like, sort of a lot of these things that happened that back in the fullness of time that wouldn't happen today, and I mean, I think you're better off for conveyance purposes and so forth to do it the right way, to have
Oh,
something
that's
that's,
fine,
you
yeah.
know, because down the road, you're gonna have, transfer problems, you know, with the lot and everything if you don't have this anyway.
So just so I'm clear, just because it's been a long day. So for us to subdivide this, we would have to do the whole road access. It wouldn't be the person building that we sell it to that would actually take responsibility.
Your arrangement could be that that person does it all at once. You know,
Right.
It's kind of like.
That would be part of the sale,
That
so to
would
speak.
be, but they, you know, you would have to do that in order for that lot to be buildable, you would have to.
Correct. All right, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure I'm
I
getting
mean,
it
how
right.
you mechanically handle it's your business.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're gonna subdivide it, you need a plan that shows all of that, that's the plan,
Okay.
right? That's, you go through the subdivision plan. If you're gonna actually, if you want us to endorse something that you don't need subdivision, it actually has to be built.
Understood.
You actually have to have it.
Okay, so one could be proposed on a plan, is what you're saying, and the other would have to be built to get the A and R.
Yeah.
We're better off going with the
Well,
subdivision.
you can do it however you want.
No, well,
I'm just saying
no,
that-
no,
the
yeah.
person's
Because
gonna,
you're right, you could sell the approved subdivision to somebody who
Right.
could build the whole thing.
Right,
So
right.
That might be a little bit easier for you if that's what
Right,
you
so
want to do.
that.
because they're gonna have to bring the utilities in, so why put a new road for them to tear it out, to,
Exactly, yeah,
so to speak, yeah.
Alright, so that would just be the subdivision,
yeah.
Form A.
Well, not
No,
Form
not
A.
a Form A, it would be a,
I'm sorry.
Right, Form A, you need to have the actual frontage, so Form A means you don't need to subdivide. We're finding that you, at this point, based on the existing conditions, you would need to subdivide. If you change the existing conditions, you may be able to come back, you know, and show us that you don't need
So,
to subdivide, but.
Can I ask one more question? I'm sorry. So 200 feet of great oak is recognized on the upper half. If we propose this, or the person we sell it to builds it, would this street now be a city street all the way through
You'd have to-
recognized?
You'd have to go through the street acceptance procedures,
Okay,
which involves a town meeting vote.
so that would be the
And-
person
That can be any
permitting,
company, that's a
okay.
separate-
right, and I can
Okay.
provide that information to you as
Yeah, I'm
well.
just curious how it all, because I'm probably gonna be asked these questions.
Yeah, it's kinda gonna be cognizant too of how it affects the permit afterwards.
Yeah, so all of that stuff, follow up with planning, follow up with building, DPW. All right, so can we get a motion, that?
Well, I think there's
I would
maybe
just-
two ways to do is, one
act,
is we
withdraw,
could,
withdraw it.
if you wanna withdraw it, it might be easier just to withdraw your application,
So
just
withdraw it,
withdraw it without
subdivision.
prejudice.
And do a proposed subdivision.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so moving to withdraw the application for the ANR? Okay, fantastic. We'll accept that withdrawal.
So, yeah, so I would make a motion to accept the applicant's, request to withdraw the application without prejudice.
Perfect.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
No,
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in
Thank you
favor?
for your time.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Good,
you.
thank you guys, good luck, I mean,
Thank
thank you
you.
for
Thank you. It was nice
listening, I know it was a little tough.